Prince Hermann Ludwig Heinrich von Pückler-Muskau, born as Count Pückler, from 1822, Prince, the 30th of October 1785 to 4 February 1871, was a German nobleman who was an excellent artist in landscape gardening and wrote widely appreciated books, mostly about his travels in Europe and northern Africa, published under the pen name of Semilasso. Pückler-Muskau was the first of 5 children of Count Karl Ludwig Hans Hermann Pückler and the Countess Clementine of Kallenberg, who gave birth to him at age 15. He was born at Muskau Castle in Upper Lusatia, then ruled by the Electorate of Saxony. He served for some time in a cavalry regiment at Dresden, and afterwards travelled through France and Italy, often by foot. In 1811, after the death of his father, he inherited the big Standesherrschaft of Muskau, joining the War of Liberation against Napoleon I of France. He left Muskau under the general inspectorate of his friend, the writer and composer Leopold Schäfer. As an officer under the Duke of Saxe-Weimar, he distinguished himself in the field and was made military and civil governor of Bruges. After the war, he retired from the army and visited England, where he remained about a year, visiting Her Majesty's Theatre, Haymarket and Drury Lane, studying parks and high society, being himself a member of it. In 1822, in compensation for certain privileges which he resigned, he was raised to the rank of first by King Frederick William III of Prussia. In 1817 he had married the Dowager Countess Lucy von Pappenheim and Eaqt von Hardenberg, daughter of Prussian statesman Prince Karl August von Hardenberg. The marriage was legally dissolved after 9 years, in 1826, though the parties did not separate and remained on amicable terms. He returned to England in 1828, where he became something of a celebrity in London society, spending nearly 2 years in search of a wealthy second wife capable of funding his ambitious gardening schemes. In 1828 his tours took him to Ireland, notably to the seat of Daniel O'Connell in Kerry. On his return home he published a not entirely frank account of his time in England. The book was an enormous success in Germany, and also caused a great stir when it appeared in English's Tour of a German Prince. Being a daring character, he subsequently travelled in Algeria, Tunisia, Egypt and Sudan and explored ancient Nubia. He is documented as having visiting the site of Naqua in modern-day Sudan in 1837. He also visited the nearby site of Musawwara, and in both places he carved his name in the stone of the temples. In the same year, at the slave market of Cairo, he was enchanted by an Ethiopian girl in her early teens whom he promptly bought and named Mahbuba. Together they continued a romantic voyage in Asia Minor and Greece. In Vienna he introduced Mahbuba to European high society, but the girl developed tuberculosis and died in Moscow in 1840. Later he would write that she was the being I loved most of all the world. Quote, he then lived at Berlin and Moscow, where he spent much time in cultivating and improving the still existing Moscow Park. In 1845 he sold this estate, and, although he afterwards lived from time to time at various places in Germany and Italy, his principal residence became Schloss Branitz near Cottbus, where he laid out another splendid park. Politically he was a liberal, supporting the Prussian reforms of Friar von Stein. This, together with his pantheism and his extravagant lifestyle, made him slightly suspect in the society of the Biedermeier period. In 1863 he was made a hereditary member of the Prussian House of Lords, and in 1866 he attended, by then an octogenarian, the Prussian General Staff in the Austro-Prussian War. In 1871 he died at Braunitz, and, in accordance with instructions in his will, his body was cremated. The artist. As a landscape gardener, he is considered to be an outstanding artist on a European level. As a writer of books of travel, he holds a high position, his powers of observation being keen and his style lucid, animated and witty. This is most evident in his first work, Briefeins Verstorbenes, in which he expresses many independent judgments about England and other countries he visited in the late 1820s and about prominent people he met. Among his later books of travel are Semilassos Vorletzte Weltgang, Semilasso in Africa, Aus mir Medailles Reich and Die Rückkehr. He is also the author of the still famous Andeutungen über Landschaftsgärtnerei, the only book he published under his own name. There are also drawings and caricatures by his hand, but he did not publish them. Publications: Briefeins Verstorbenes, Tour of a German Prince, 4 vols, London, Wilson 1831-32, Andeutungen über Landschaftsgärtnerei verbunden mit der Beschreibung ihrer Praxis und Anwendung in Moskau, 1834, Tutti Frutti, aus den Papieren des Verstorbenen, 5 vols, 1834. Semilassos Vorletzte Weltgang, 3 vols, 1835. Semilasso in Africa, 5 vols, 1836. Der Vorläufer 1838. Jugendwanderungen 1835. Südostliche Bildersaal 1840. Aus mir Medailles Reich, 3 vols, 1844. Die Rückkehr, 3 vols, 1846-48. Briefwechsel und Tagebuch des Fürsten Hermann von Pückler-Muskau, 9 vols, ed. Liebmiller Arsing, Hamburg 1873-76, Bernd Squared 1971. Liebesbrief alten Cavaliers. Briefwechsel des Fürsten Pückler mit Ada von Treschow, ed. Werner Dietgen, 1938. Bettina von Arnim, Hermann von Pückler-Muskau, Die Leidenschaft ist der Schlüssel zur Welt. Briefwechsel 1832-1844, complete edition with commentary by Ina Gajek and Bernhard Gajek, Cotta, Stuttgart 2001, ISBN 3-7681-9809-X. Fürst Pückler. His name is still remembered in German cookery through a sweet called Fürst Pückler, very similar to Neapolitan ice cream, not invented by him, but named in his honor by the Royal Prussian court cook Louis Ferdinand Jungius in 1839. Fürst Pückler is also mentioned at the conclusion of the novel 2666 by Roberto Barlano in reference to the dessert bearing his name, in this case, Neapolitan ice cream. He becomes an example of one's reputation being defined unexpectedly by accomplishments of lesser significance.